We learned about all these lifecycle hooks in the last lecture. Now let's see them in action. We can easily execute some code at the different points of the lifecycle by adding them as functions to the object we're passing to the Vue instance, so to our Vue instance basically. The first one is before create. So we can add the before create function like this. And here I will simply console log before create, so we can see we reached this hook. You may of course execute any other code you need to execute there. Thereafter, we have created. So let's also add this function here. And of course I shall also rename this here to created. Then we have before mount. We now created this VueJS instance, but it hasn't been mounted to the DOM yet. So it is yet to be reflected on what we see in the browser. Thereafter, of course, we have mounted. Now, mounted, as the name implies, means now it is attached to our real DOM. We can see it in the browser now. If some data changes, we have before update, which is executed right before the DOM or the part which needs to be updated in the DOM is re-rendered. And then we got updated, which, as you might guess, is called right after this part of the DOM has been updated. And then, when it comes to an end for our instance, we get before destroy, which is called right before the instance, well, yeah, like you guess, is removed. So it's destroyed, not only removed, is destroyed. And finally, at the very end, we got destroyed. This would be a hook where it's good to do some cleanup work, or the before destroy hook to be precise, to do some cleanup work if you need to release some resources or anything like that. This is the whole cycle. Now, we could already see some of these functions, but not all. To be able to see before update and updated, we need to implement something which changes something. And to see before destroy and destroyed, we need to implement some code to actually destroy this instance. I'll do both with buttons here. The first button should say update title. And all I want to do here is on a click listener, I simply want to set title equal to changed. And then I will add a button where I say destroy. And here I want to call the destroy method, let's say, which I'll add down here in the methods property. That's important to realize. All these lifecycle hooks are not inside the methods property. These are all functions registered directly on the root object we pass to this constructor. So in the methods property here, I will set up destroy, which is of course a function where I will call this referring to this Vue instance, and then destroy with a $sign at the beginning. This will destroy this instance. Well, let's see it in action by opening up the console, hitting Control-Enter to re-render this. And we already see before create, created, before mount, and mounted, which makes sense. These are the first hooks which get executed in this order. Now let me hit update title. And you see that before update and updated was executed. Of course, because this is what we did. We updated something, we updated a property. We updated a property which required the DOM to be changed, and hence we saw before update and updated. Interesting. If I hit update title again, it will set title to changed again, which is the value the title already has. See that? No methods gets executed now, because as explained in the How Does VueJS Update the DOM lecture, it doesn't do this if there is no real change to be taken care of. It recognizes that even though we, yes, touched this title property, we didn't change the value. It's the same value as before. Hence no need to re-render anything. Hence no need to call either before update nor updated. And finally, let's destroy it by hitting the destroy button. And you see before destroy and destroy got called. And now the changed text is still here, but it's no longer controlled by VueJS. The VueJS instance is gone and no longer available. So every other code we would have here, all these buttons will no longer work. And I can prove this by resetting it. Call control again and hit update title. You see, even though we now theoretically should see an update because the text isn't different one than changed, it doesn't work because the VueJS instance is dead. This does not mean that it removes all the code from the DOM, as you can clearly see. It only means it removes all the JavaScript logic. So all our connections are now dead. And this is the VueJS lifecycle and a tiny bit of how VueJS updates the DOM with the before update and updated methods here in action. With that, let's move on to more practice-driven modules, but that was a core module to understand how VueJS works behind the scenes and how you may utilize it.